a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And sometimes it is that first step that is not only the hardest one to make, but the most important one, because it sets us on the journey. It enables us to put intention into action. For it isn't enough just to say to ourselves, I'm going to do whatever that thing may be, and never get to the going or the doing. The wise men in our story left the comfort and familiarity of their homeland, and they traveled following the light of a star. And we can imagine that that journey was not an easy one. Our journeys aren't always easy either. But just as the light of a star guided the journey of the wise men, as we read in Matthew's Gospel, the light of Christ continues to guide our faith journey as we move into 2015. There is something very special about turning over a new calendar page, particularly if it's a new year. You know, my daughter-in-law went out to get one of those large calendars where you have spaces you can write in. And it was kind of that moment when all the spaces are empty, waiting to be filled with activities or accomplishments or stars that recognize that grandchildren have made certain milestone accomplishments as the year unfolds. On one level, we know that days follow days, but New Year's and the resolutions we often make are a part of having a new start. And for some, it's a chance to put the challenges and difficulties of a past year behind and to look with hope to the unfolding of a new year. We recommit ourselves to the journey, whatever that journey may be and wherever that journey may take us. There's a wonderful story, and I shared it a number of years ago, but I want to repeat it this morning. A story about a little girl, a young girl in Africa who had a teacher who she loved very much and respected very much. And she heard that her teacher was going to be leaving their village, and she wanted to give her teacher a very special gift. She didn't have money to buy an expensive, even an inexpensive present, but finally she decided what she would do. She was gone for 2 days, and when she returned, she was carrying the most exquisite shell anyone in her village had ever seen. Her teacher was amazed. "Where did you get this?" she asked. The child told her that such shells were found only on a certain faraway beach. The teacher was deeply touched because she knew that the girl had walked many miles to find the shell. "You shouldn't have traveled so far to find a gift for me," she said. The girl smiled and explained, "The long walk is part of the gift." The long walk, the journey, is part of our gift to the Christ child. To take that journey, to take the light of Christ into our lives, and then to step out into a new year, into familiar or unfamiliar situations and circumstances and places. For one step of faith will inevitably lead to another. And since we are all, as members of this congregation and as individual Christians, at different places in our lives, the step will be different for each of us. As a new year begins, it's an appropriate time to renew a commitment to the journey, to trust that our steps will lead us toward the one who lights our path and toward the world that needs that light that we carry for others. It may be a journey that takes in new directions or to places we had never imagined. This congregation is engaged in a transition time as we move from ministry to ministry, and as we seek to continue to be that kind of beacon of hope and light and love and joy in Wallingford and in the world, to let the light that is in us shine brightly. I came across an article in a book that arrived on my doorstep when I returned home, a book on transitional ministry, which I had ordered several months ago. But the author of this particular article within that book talks about a way of approaching change and times of transition, a way called appreciative inquiry, or the appreciative way. And one of the guiding anchors and assumptions of this way is that at the heart of the universe is love, which is the source of our existence and our purpose for being. And Rob Voyle, the author of this piece, writes, "On the Sunday after the 9/11 attack on the World Trade Center, Chris Rankin Williams, my parish associate at the time, said in his sermon, and I quote, 'The challenge of this life is not to stay alive. The challenge of this life is to stay in love. If your goal is to stay alive, you will lose, because we all die. The real choice is about how we live until that day.' From my experience," the author writes, "we get two options. We can either live in love or in fear." Living in fear, he said, is the default position. For we are biologically made with many more neurons scanning our environment for life-threatening dangers than we have scanning for beauty, joy, love, or other life-enhancing possibilities. Consequently, living in love is an acquired and often challenging habit. We have to make an intentional choice to follow the light of God's love, to take that step, to take that journey. But we take it knowing that we walk alone. We walk side by side with brothers and sisters in Christ who walk with us. We walk by the light of the one who came into the world to show us a way of hope and joy and peace and love. Thanks be to God.